welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, an extra warm welcome to you. I would love it if you stayed a while, grab a snack, click the subscribe button. I'd be more than happy to have you. And to all of my returning viewers, thank you for coming back. I appreciate your support. So as you all probably noticed, I did not upload on Thursday. Sorry guys. I kind of felt a little burnt out. I've been uploading 3 videos a week for almost a month now, and I kind of just felt like I needed a break. So I decided to not worry about filming and uploading a video for Thursday and just kind of took it easy, you know, enjoyed spending time with my daughter and my fiance. Also, if you guys don't follow me on my social medias, I am pregnant. It's early on. I am 8 weeks pregnant, but that also played a factor in me kind of just deciding to just take the day off. So for today's video, I kind of just wanted to go back to basics, and I wanted to do a video where I show you guys how I get my base down. A lot of the times I get a lot of compliments on how my skin looks even with foundation on, and how it doesn't look, you know, like I got a pound of foundation on. So I kind of just wanted to share my little tips and tricks with you guys, just in case you wanted to try something new, see if it works for you. I know that sometimes base can be a little bit hard just because there's so many makeup influencers out there that encourage that whole Instagram popular ways of putting on makeup, like the whole dripping the foundation down your face, or like the 2 triangles of concealer under your eyes. Like it just, that's all mainly to kind of create a show for the audience. It's more to get attention than anything. I wouldn't say that is your normal way of putting on makeup. So today I'll be pretty much just showing you guys how I get my base down, and hopefully you guys maybe learn a trick or two. The very first thing is to moisturize your face. Now, I probably do more steps that I need to do, but this is what I do. This is what I have found to like. This is what I have found that works in making sure that my skin looks flawless every single time I do it this way. I'm not saying you need to do all these steps, but I'm just showing you what I do, and maybe you pick up 1 or 2 tricks. The very first thing I do is I go in with the Wet n Wild Primer Water, and this is more of my hydrating component than anything. If you don't like primer, if you think primers are a gimmick, that's fine. At least make sure that you are at least moisturizing your skin. It is very important to make sure that your skin is nice and moisturized before you go in with any makeup. The next thing I do is I go in with a translucent powder, but this is the CoverGirl True Blend. This is in shade Light. It does have a little bit of pigmentation to it, but I don't notice it too much. And this is mostly to just set that Wet n Wild primer water. I don't add too much. It's literally just barely tapping it and just kind of setting my whole face. You don't have to do this. This is just what I do. This is my routine. All right, next thing is I bring a little bit of moisture back into my face. So you can either use a primer water, or if you want to use a setting spray, you can use a setting spray. I have this Marc Jacobs little Perfecting Coconut Setting Mist that I'm just trying to get rid of. It's almost gone. And I just do a light mist, let my skin absorb it, and then I tap it in. Next thing I do is go in with my primers. Now, if you don't believe in primers, you can just leave it at that and you're done. I'm going to go in with the Professional primer. This I am going to use for my T-zone. I want this to cover up all of my big pores. I have big pores. And just kind of make my T-zone nice and blurred out. Now I am going to go in with a hydrating primer, which is the Fenty Beauty. This is the Pro Filter Soft Matte Primer. Even though it says Even though it says soft matte, I definitely feel like this primer is very hydrating, and every time I use it, I feel like it leaves my skin glowing. The only thing I don't like about it is the scent. The scent's a little strong for my taste, but it's not too bad. All right. Okay, I think I'm going to bring you in just a tiny bit closer. Okay, as you can see, my skin is pretty okay right now. There's not too much going on. I do have a couple of small blemishes. I'm pretty happy with my skin right now. All right, we are going to go in with the Dream Radiant Liquid Foundation by Maybelline. This is an amazing foundation. I absolutely love it. And I actually got my order in from Laura Lee Los Angeles. I got the makeup brush bundle of the 10 brushes and the little makeup bag. So I'm going to be testing out some of these brushes, and let's see if I like this Kabuki brush. I don't normally use Kabuki brushes for my foundation, but I thought I'd try it out and see if I like it. So yeah, I think you're a little too close. There we go. I know you see on Instagram those beauty people, influencers, whatever you want to call them, dripping the foundation down their face. That is like so horrible. First of all, that's not even like, why? I usually pour my foundation out into my fingers and then I put it on my skin. I start literally with like half a pump and then I blend it out. It's a lot easier to build up than it is to put too much product and then take off, because you can't really do that. So I like to build my foundation up. It also leaves the finish of the foundation more natural when you build it up. There's one little tip that I have learned. It goes a long way, especially when it comes to the finish of my base. Also, if you are going to use concealer, there is no point of putting foundation right underneath your eyes, and the reasoning behind that is because you're already going to go in with concealer, so you are literally just stacking product upon product, and if you crease easily under your eyes, that is definitely going to make it worse and make it happen even sooner. So since I put concealer under my eyes, I usually only blend foundation up to here because I'm already going to put product under my eyes, which is the concealer. Okay guys, I ended up using about a pump and a half of the foundation, and I'm okay with that. It's definitely not a full coverage look, and I'm okay. You're probably wondering, okay, well, why didn't you just go in with a pump and a half to begin with? I like to build up my product. That's the way I feel that it ends up looking more natural. And also, I don't think I like this brush. I just don't like Kabuki brushes for foundation. I don't know why. Now we are going to go in with concealer. I'm going to use Juvia's Place. I am really loving this foundation. This is a Black owned brand, and this is a very hydrating but mattifying concealer, so I have really been enjoying it. All right, for the concealer, now this is when you need to not go overboard. I'm using two different shades because this one's too light and the other one is too dark, so I just mixed both of them in. When it comes to concealer, if you want to highlight parts of your face, okay, yes, then you would use a fairly light concealer, but it still doesn't mean that you literally have to pack it on. I literally go right here, which is right where the darkest line on my under eyes is, and I also go right in here. I am very red around my nose. I know it's a very common thing for women because of hormones and whatnot, but for me, it's always been a problem. I've always been self-conscious about it. Now with the darker one, I go right here and right here on the side of my nose, I do let my concealers sit for a little bit. I like them to get a tiny bit dry. You certainly get better coverage that way. I'm going to use a Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH08. This is what she looks like. I stopped using a sponge for my concealer because I felt like it was just taking away too much of the product. eyeshadow, I blend it out. And as you can see how light that middle shade is, I usually bring it down. Actually used maybe a little too much of that light concealer under my nose, but hopefully we can blend it out to where you can't notice it too much. So at the end of the day, just with that, I'm already highlighting, you know, like my T-zone. Now, see how much coverage you get with that tiny bit? So I don't even understand how these women are still doing that whole triangle under their eyes. It is crazy to me. I think for sure I put just a tiny bit too much, but I love this concealer because it blends out so beautifully. So even though I did put a tiny bit too much, I still feel like it still looks like my skin, but better. Definitely not cakey at all. Okay, this is what my skin looks like. So there is still some of my like redness popping through, and I like that. I don't mind it. It makes it feel like my skin, but better. Now what we're going to do is set the under eyes. I always go back with my brush and make sure that everything is still nice and blended before I set it. You don't have to set your under eyes. I have tried not setting my under eyes and just used like basically the shadow that I put on as like my setting powder for my under eyes, and that went so wrong. I mean, my mascara smudged all over the place, my eyeliner was all runny, and it just, no, I have to. When it comes to my under eyes, I have to set them. Does that mean I bake? No, it does not mean I bake. For my under eyes, I always use my Wet n Wild translucent powder. I don't know, I really love the way my under eyes look with the setting powder, and I started using this and I haven't stopped using it under my eyes. I literally put some on there and then tap, and that's pretty much what I end up using. If I need to dip in for more, then I dip in for more, but I always use the least amount of powder as possible under my eyes. Your under eyes are already naturally dry, so the more powder you put on there, the drier and more cracked they will look. Just do what works for you, and so far just tapping a tiny bit of translucent powder under my eyes is what does the trick. I'm going to put down some cream bronzer. I am going to go in with Milk Makeup. I always start with cream bronzer and then I set it with powder bronzer. Now this cream bronzer from Milk Makeup is a little bit more of a cool tone, and it's the lighter shade out of the two that they offer. So I mainly use this more as contour than a bronzer really, and I'm using a Morphe 536. This is what I use to blend the cream bronzer, and I pretty much just snatch my cheekbones. I have not set the rest of my face, and that is why I'm laying down the cream product right now. I just find that when you use a cream bronzer before laying down the powder, it makes it look more natural. I just love the finish. Anytime I don't do this step, I hate how my bronzer looks on my face. It might just be in my head, but this is just how I do it, and it's how I love it, and it's been working. So don't fix what ain't broke, right? If you do feel like you went a little overboard, go back to the brush that you use your foundation with and just kind of tap out the edges so that it looks more blended, you know? Okay, now that the contour is down, now I'm going to set the rest of my face. Yes, I am going to use a different powder. Today I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I just get a fluffy brush. It's in my favorite brushes video. I don't like using the super huge ones, but this one works beautifully, and I am just going to set where my foundation is. I am going to try and stay away from that cream contour, and I'm literally going very light-handed. I don't like to put too much powder because that's how you look cakey. Like I said, Powder makes you dry, so if you pack it on, you are going to feel dry. So this is what my base looks like so far. What do you think? I feel like my base is looking beautiful. I do have a couple of dry patches, but they're not popping out too much. Now we're going to finish the bronzer, and for today we are going to use the Alamar Cosmetics Brighten and Bronze Trio. This is in the medium. They have a light, medium, and tan. And I am going to go in to these two shades, mostly this one since this one is so dark, but I'll be mixing both. And I'm basically going to set right to where that cream bronzer is laid down. And this is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH05. This is the brush that I like to use for powder contour. I am going to go in with a bigger brush to make it look more bronzy. Now I am going to go in to my Morphe and Jaclyn JH13. This is what she looks like. And I'm mostly going to pick up the middle shade of the Trio palette. I'm going to only dip once on the darker shade and then on that medium shade. And this is what I'm going to use to bronze. I do also bronze up my forehead just a tiny bit. I mostly stick to my temples. Since I do have a pretty small forehead, I don't need any bronzer up there. I do, however, like to leave this area right here bare with just foundation. I don't like to put bronzer there. I used to, but I stopped. Not everything looks blended, so this is when I go back to that original brush that we used for the foundation and blend out the edges. Same with the forehead if I feel like the edges look too rough. Okay, this is what I have so far. So we got our base, bronzer, powder. Went ahead and did my brows off camera. If you are interested, you can certainly let me know down below and I will be more than happy to do an updated video on how I do my eyebrows. Now, you're probably wondering, Mary, you haven't put anything on your eyelids. Why? I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to absolutely love what I'm about to say, but I beg of you, please stop using concealer on your eyelids. This is why. Concealers are oil-based. In case you didn't know, your eyelids are one of the oiliest parts of your face. What does oil do with oil? That is why I stopped using concealer on my eyes and now I use an eye primer because eye primers are not oil based. Even if I'm not going to be wearing any eyeshadow, I still put eye primer on my eyelids. Today I'm going to go in with my Revolution primer. And you don't even need to put that much. So I usually blend it. If I don't blend it out with a brush, I just use my fingers. Your fingers are also great tools for applying your makeup. So that's what I'll be doing. Nice and blended, and see, it looks beautiful. And you don't have to buy a like super expensive eye primer, guys. e.l.f. has a decent one. I know a couple of people have tried out, but see how beautiful that looks? It's perfect. All right, now I'm going to focus on my cheeks. I keep forgetting to have these new brushes. This is the Laura Lee L14, and I am going to use this for blush. And the Kabuki one, which I didn't tell you guys, sorry, is the L11 from Laura Lee Los Angeles. And I'm using the California blush by Benefit Cosmetics. I love this blush. It does have a little bit of a sheen, but it's not too extreme, and that's why I like it. For my blush, I like to focus this on just here, and then I bring it up a tiny bit. I always leave this area bare. I have a pretty round face, and I find that me doing my bronzer and my blush this way keeps my face looking long and not short and stubby. Like I just feel like it brings my face longer when I do this. Every face is different, so you definitely have to try out and see what works best for you. But this is what I do, and ever since I started doing this, I just really love how it shapes my face. All the brushes are very soft, and there's nothing wrong with a kabuki brush. I just don't like using kabuki brushes for my foundation. I tried it and I don't like it. I tried it. Alright, so for me, I feel like I went a little too far, so I'm going to go in with that brush that I used for my foundation, and I'm just going to blend out the edges. Alright guys, and we are almost done. Last but not least, we are going to do highlighter. I'm not going to do my eyes just because today's focus, I mainly wanted it to be about the base. I'm going to go in with a classic, and that is the Becca Champagne Pop. This is a highlighter that Jaclyn Hill collaborated with Becca Cosmetics. I am going to go into another Laura Lee Los Angeles brush. This is the L15. So for highlighter, a lot of people are very confused as to where exactly it is that you put highlighter. And that's exactly what it is. It highlights your face. So basically you want to look at your face, and the places where the light bounces, that's where you want to put your highlighter. Since everyone's face is shaped differently, it's not going to be the same for everybody. So I know you see a lot of like the C that every beauty guru out there does, beauty YouTuber, beauty influencer, whatever you want to call them. I stopped doing that because that's not how you're supposed to highlight your face. For my face, I highlight right here, and you can go as light or as blinding as you want, and right here. Okay, and I also highlight the tip of my nose right here. I also like to highlight right above my brow bone, so I usually start here and move my way up. How are we looking? I definitely feel like I put too much on my cheeks, but that's okay. A lot of people like to highlight the Cupid's bow. I do, but I don't go overboard, you know? Okay, let's go ahead and assess. I think, yes, okay. So can you see, like, when I move my face, like, you could see the highlight, and it makes your face just glow, and it's like a natural glow. All right, now for setting spray. I know a lot of people think that setting sprays are gimmicks, but if you find the right setting spray, one, not only will it help your makeup last longer, it just kind of puts everything in place and melts everything together and makes it look glowy. For today, we are going to use the Wet n Wild Coconut 3-in-1 Primer Water. I love this. Okay guys, and that is it. This is the complete look. This is my flawless base that I get a lot of compliments on. Let me bring you in closer so you can see the primer. So as you can see, the primer has stayed in place. It's not creasing really. I do have very hooded eyes, so when I wear it all mattes, you can definitely see this line right here that is kind of forming on this side. So if you have really hooded eyes or very oily eyes, there's a chance that your primer might still crease. If you are not wearing any eyeshadow, then you could definitely set your primer down just so that, you know, your oils doesn't break down the eye primer and make it crease. Let's scooch back out. And this is it, guys. This is my flawless foundation routine. I feel like my skin looks pretty good. I would go out like this, of course, and people wouldn't look at me because I have a shit ton of makeup, and you know, they won't be staring at me like, oh, you know, she wears a lot of makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed me showing you step by step on how I do my base, the reasoning, the why I do everything. Just because this is the way I do it, it does not mean that this is the way that you need to do it. I'm just sharing what I do in case, you know, some of my tips and tricks might work for you. I still have that little giveaway going on, so I'll make sure to link that video down below. So far, there's only 2 people that have entered into the giveaway, so that's a 50-50 chance. So if you want a free Ulta gift card, then enter the giveaway. Because yeah, if you can please do me a huge favor and give this video a big old thumbs up. That really helps me out on the algorithm. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family. So make sure to click that subscribe button. I would love to have you. I post on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I do miss a day or 2 here and there, but you know, we all need a break sometimes, so I'm sure you guys understand. Alright guys, well, I will see you on the next video. Bye!